Hello and welcome to On the Mat with Lydia. That's me. And whatever has brought you to your yoga practice today, you are very welcome here. Today's class is a quick stretch for hips and hammies. So we have a nice slow and stretchy practice to create a little bit more space here in the lower body. Now for our practice today, the long edge of the yoga mat is going to serve as our quote-unquote front edge of the mat. So please situate yourself now so that you're facing that longer edge. And whenever you're ready, let's get on the mat. Please begin in a seated position facing the long edge of your yoga mat. Let's bring our hands back behind our hips and then uncross your legs, plant the soles of your feet onto the floor. And for today, let's take the feet nice and wide apart, wider than the hips. With an inhale, sit up a little bit taller. As you exhale, drop your knees over to one side of your mat. Then inhale, bring your knees back up through center. Exhale, drop your knees to the other side. Please keep this going with your breath, this windshield wiper action through the legs. As you move here, really feeling into any sensations around your hips, feeling this rocking of your sits bones going back and forth across the mat. And starting to match your breath with your movement here. So finding that beautiful connection between breath and body. And as you drop the knees side to side, you can allow the torso to twist as well. You might even lift that opposite arm, let it sweep across your body. Just allowing for a little bit of organic movement here as we wake up the body. And then slowly, gradually starting to move your way back to center. So making this a little bit smaller, bringing your knees back to center and planting the soles of your feet onto the floor. Beautiful. Let's bring the feet in together to touch now. Let your knees open all the way out, setting up for our butterfly or Baddha Konasana. So as the soles of your feet together, allow your hips to open out. So rather than pushing the feet towards one another, allow your inner arches to kind of open up towards the sky like the blossom of a flower. And if your knees are feeling a little bit uncomfortable just hanging out here in space, you can always bring a couple blocks there for support. Now sitting up tall on those sits bones, let's take an inhale here. As you exhale, send your heart forward towards your toes and come down into your fold. So again, rather than pushing the feet together and closing off the hips, we're going to encourage the center part of our feet to open up. That means the knees are going to drop down, the hips are going to open up. And then we can breathe into that sensation right there around the hips and the pelvis. And we'll stay for a little while here. So if you'd like, you might close your eyes or soften your gaze. Dropping into the rhythm of your breath. And using each inhale and exhale to help bring you deeper and deeper into this experience in your body. So I know sometimes it can be scary to really drop in and feel what we're feeling, to really inhabit your body. But just for today, you might experiment with doing just that, with really being present with every sensation. You know that you always have your breath there as a guide, as a support, through every shape, through every posture. As we stay for about 3 more rounds of breath here, maybe you feel those exhalations can help create a little bit more space. So really relaxing, releasing any tightness around the hips with those breaths out. Now with your next natural inhale, slowly rise back up to a seated position. Taking your time to transition here. Hands will find the outer edges of your legs. Gently press your knees towards one another, planting the soles of your feet back onto the floor. Now we're going to plant the feet here just about hips width distance. You might need them a little bit closer together here. But the hands are going to help us pushing into the earth so we can lift the tailbone up. And then shift your weight forward into your feet. Bring your arms around in front of you to arrive in Malasana, our yogic squat. So you might like to bring your arms to the inner edges of your legs here. Find a little press of the arms into the legs into the arms. And for today, we're going to make this pose a little bit more movement-based, a little bit more dynamic. So as you find this low squat shape, you can start to shake the hips side to side. Perhaps you lift one heel then the other. Just allowing some movement to make its way into this shape so you can really explore how this feels for your hips, for your legs, even up into your spine and your chest. And we'll take just a few moments here to explore this movement. Maybe some of that is spent in stillness, really feeling into the pose. Take this wherever you need it to go today. We'll stay for one more breath in. And breath out. Awesome. Planting down through your feet now. Let's take an inhale to rise the hips. As you exhale, turn the toes forward and fold down over your legs. Letting your upper body hang heavy here. Hands can rest down on the earth. Maybe you reach for your ankles. And again, while you're here, you're free to incorporate a little bit more movement. Perhaps bending and straightening the knees. Maybe shifting your weight from side to side. And exploring now a little bit more of that sensation in the backs of your legs, into that space of your hamstrings. So your hamstring is that muscle at the back of the thigh. It's a place that a lot of us kind of complain about feeling some tightness. So allow your body to have some time here to feel into that and move in any way that feels good. We're going to keep our forward fold here. So upper body is going to stay relaxing down towards the earth. Let's bring a little bend into the knees. Find a softness there. And then begin to heel toe your feet nice and wide apart. Wide enough that you can still feel balanced here. You're not going to wobble and fall over. But you also start to feel this stretch now in the inner line of your legs up into the hips. And once you find that wide stance for you, allow the feet to plant down, let the knees be softly bent. And feel that your upper body can relax just a little bit more towards the mat, letting go of any effort there through the upper body. Bringing in some slow, smooth breaths here to help us deepen this stretch. Let's stay for one more inhale. And exhale. Bending your knees once again. Let's turn the heels in, turn your toes out. And as you inhale, slowly roll yourself all the way up to standing. Lifting through the crown of your head, dropping your shoulders back and down. Let's take an inhale, sweep the arms out and up. As you exhale, bend your knees, bend your elbows, come down into your goddess pose. So toes slightly turned out, knees are going to follow the line of the toes. And then feel your tailbone dropping straight down, opening up this space for the hips. And we'll start to move a little bit with our breath. So as you inhale, straighten up through the legs, reach your arms to the sky. As you exhale, rebend your knees and sink down into your goddess. Again, inhale, reaching up, find length. Exhale, bend your knees, sink low. 2 more times like that. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, coming down into goddess. Last time, inhale. And exhale, bend your knees, bend your elbows, come on down into that goddess squat and stay, please. At this point, if you'd like to change that variation of your arms, please feel free to do so. We're going to focus down into the lower body. So just like we did when we were down low in that malasana squat, we're going to explore a little bit of movement here. So you might like to shift your weight side to side. You might like to bend a little bit lower, maybe stand up a little bit taller. And just play around here. See what sensations you're experiencing. See what movement feels good, or if there's a particular spot that feels like a really nice stretch, you can stay there and take a few breaths. Now, part of really taking care of our bodies is incorporating some stability, some strength into our moments of flexibility. So yes, today is focused on stretch, but we want to bring in just a little bit of that strength. So don't shy away from some engagement here. If you're feeling like this is a little bit of work, that's okay. Awesome. Let's take one more full round of breath in our goddess. Inhale here. Stay for the exhale. As you inhale, straighten your legs, reach up tall. As you exhale, hands find your hips. Turn your toes back to face that long edge of your mat, parallel through the feet. Inhaling here. As you exhale, folding forward between your legs once again. Dropping the hands down, hanging heavy. We'll stay for about 3 rounds of breath this time. So we're slowly coming out the same way we came in, moving through these different forward bends, feeling into the hips and the hammies. Let's take one more inhale here. Exhale completely. Bending your knees, begin to heel toe your feet towards one another. Landing with your feet at about hips width distance, maybe a little bit wider. And then folding forward again over your thighs. Let's see if we can stay in stillness for this one, about 3 rounds of breath here. Sending your breath into that back line of your body, the back line of your legs. Feeling your breath kind of massaging your body here. Let's take one more breath in. Complete breath out. Bending your knees deeply here, begin to drop your hips towards the floor. Lifting your head and chest, coming back into that malasana yogic squat. Now you get to choose how low you want to come into this squat. So you might stay a little bit more lifted today. You might drop all the way down. No matter where you are, let's aim for 3 rounds of breath here. Movement is okay if you want it, but see what that experience in stillness is like for you as well. Using your hands to help you make your way all the way down onto your bum, coming to seated on your mat. As you arrive, stretching your legs out wide to a V here and giving your legs a little shake. Awesome. Let's keep that left leg extended long. Bring your right heel in towards your pelvis. Placing your left hand on your left leg, let's inhale to sweep the right arm up. As you exhale, reach up and over, find a side stretch. With each inhale, feeling that right hip getting heavier, rooting into the earth. With each exhale, feeling this length through the right side of your waist. And we'll just stay for a few more rounds of breath here to feel into that sensation. With your next natural inhale, slowly rising back up through center. As you exhale, turn your chest towards your right knee. Let's create a little twist here. So right hand can drop back behind you, left hand can cross over to that right knee. With each inhale, again, grounding down through your hips. With each exhale, expanding across your chest. Beautiful. Let's take one more breath in here. As you breathe out, slowly unwind your twist, come back through center. Now bringing in that left leg, let's cross the left shin in front of your right, giving yourself a little bit of space between your shins and your pelvis. So it's like you're creating a little triangle here with the legs. Sitting up tall on your sits bones, let's take an inhale here. As you exhale, send your heart forward over your shins and come down into a forward fold. Hands can walk around to support you if you'd like. Continuing to send your hips back and down with each inhale and lengthen out through your spine with each exhale. While you're here, feeling into the sensation for your outer left hip. So hopefully you're feeling that stretch into the outer hip, maybe even into the glute. If you're absolutely not feeling anything going on here, then you might find double pigeon instead, stacking that left leg on top of the right so that the shins are parallel with one another. Wherever you choose to be, we're going to stay for about 3 more rounds of breath. Let's take one more inhale here. Big exhale. Inhaling to sit back up nice and tall. Let's stretch that right leg out long this time, letting the leg be open in a little half V. And that left heel is going to draw in towards your pelvis any amount. Always the option to find a prop underneath that left knee if that feels like nice support. Right hand finds your right leg. Take an inhale, reach your left arm to the sky. As you exhale, reach up and over, find a side bend. Feeling into that sensation for the inner line of the right leg, as well as for this left side of the body here. So really letting the hips anchor down so that you can breathe fully into those spaces. Let's stay for one more inhale here. Exhale completely. With your next inhale, rising up to a tall spine. As you exhale, turning your chest towards your left knee, finding your twist. Gently encouraging your left shoulder back as you spread across the collarbones. And keeping that same heaviness through your hips. So we have this center, this place of support from which we can really start to twist and open up the upper body. And let's stay and breathe for about 2 more full rounds of breath. Let's find one more inhale here. As you exhale, slowly unwind your twist, come back through center. Bringing that right leg back in now. Let's cross the right shin in front of the left. Bringing the shins together, but creating some space between the shins and the pelvis. And then sitting up tall on your sits bones, let's take an inhale here. As you exhale, send your heart forward over your shins to come down into your forward fold. Looking for the sensation in our outer right hip this time. Feeling that same heaviness of the hips so that we can create a little bit more space, a little bit more length, both around the left or the right hip as well as the lower back. Now again, if you're not feeling anything going on over in that hip and it feels okay for your knees, you can stack right shin on top of left, find that double pigeon or fire log shape instead. And wherever you choose to be, let's take a few more rounds of breath together here. With your next natural inhale, slowly rise back up to a seated position. Take your time. Uncross your legs, stretch them out for a moment, give them a little shake. Beautiful. And let's meet back in an easy seated position, Sukhasana. So gently crossing the legs here, sitting up tall one more time. Resting your hands on your legs, letting your shoulders drop back and down. And if it feels safe and comfortable for you, allowing your eyes to close. Taking these final few moments of our practice today to really feel into the sensations of your body, especially checking in with your lower body here. Noticing if it feels any different to be sitting here on your yoga mat. If you feel any difference around your hips and your hamstrings after all those shapes we just made. And observing whatever is there for you without judgment or expectation. And infusing some gratitude into your next few rounds of breath. Thanking yourself for showing up to your mat and for taking this time to really be kind to your body. I thank you so much for meeting me on the mat today. Namaste.